Good, beautiful morning, everybody, and welcome to the Friday edition of Shortcuts for Your Soul. This will be a very short presentation today because I've got a vehicle at the back that is taking down tree branches and cleaning them up from the area. So there's a bunch of background noise. Please forgive me for that. But I did want to just come on for this short period of time to communicate something that's very important for all of us to understand, that your emotions are electrical and magnetic. Now, I have with me the energy of the divine collective, and this is really important. They say the larger percentage of humanity right now is being manipulated electromagnetically. That is, the way many people feel and think and believe is not based on a function of actual choice and free will, but on the electrical manipulation of your emotional magnetic fields, so that it can make you think and feel in very specific ways. Devices such as this, where they can actually project electrical charges through emotional qualities and put people into states of emotion and thought that can be very detrimental to themselves and others. A lot of people are looking at some of the behavior going on, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, for example. It's just one small example where someone has been emotionally conditioned and manipulated electromagnetically to act and do. Now, don't doubt this. They tell me that the technology to make a person think what they want them to think and do what they want them to do has been under development for over 100 years when they started creating TV programming. So question your motives, why and what for you want to do, say, or think certain things. You may be being manipulated and not even know it. Just by having your phone close to you, watching television, listening to a newscast program, or any other forms of electromagnetic energy that can interface with your electromagnetic field. Your body emits an electromagnetic torus field that can go out as far as 16 feet in all directions. And anything electrically that comes into that field will be perceived by the system and react and respond to it. Now, the existing authorities, at least a large percentage of the existing authorities, are well versed on how to manipulate people into war, for example. You look at war, that's getting a bunch of people to go and kill each other. That takes a lot of effort, doesn't it? But they're able to do that. They've been doing that for thousands of years. Words are electromagnetic. Electricity is electromagnetic. Everything is electromagnetic. And your electromagnetic behavior is affected by what you hear and what comes into your field. And it's very important you understand this, like now, because people are going to be and have been doing really crazy things because of this electromagnetic manipulation. So it's not just through your cell phones, it's through the actual ether, the waves of energy that move around us. The most obvious forms of electromagnetic manipulation are television, radio, the movie industry are the primary mechanisms for manipulating people into emotions and behaviors. Remember, 80 years, we did not have a lot of the dysfunctional behaviors that you see in society today. And in the last 70 years, we've watched all these new behaviors emerging. I don't want to get into details about it. I just want you to understand that right now, the vast majority of people are being manipulated electromagnetically to think, feel, and believe. Did you watch how many people celebrated the assassination of a father and a husband and left two children without their father? And people, hundreds and hundreds of people, if not thousands, celebrating the action of murder. I don't know about you, but if anybody died when I was a child, we all mourned. Anyway, you have to understand that behaviorally you can be influenced to think, say, and do things, and you have been most of your life. You can be manipulated into think, feeling, saying, and doing things that you would not, under normal, healthy circumstances, think, say, or do. How many times have you found yourself going, I wonder why I did that? You watch what goes in your mind. You watch what goes in your mind and from whom it comes. Even question everything you hear, even. Yes, I channel ascended masters, archangels, and other multidimensional beings, but it's done as an act of free conscious will, and I have an opportunity to evaluate the vibration of the individuals I'm going to be communicating with beforehand. So I want you to understand that you can be manipulated by your phone, by standing near a cell phone tower. You can be manipulated by watching TV. Anything that could come into your senses is an electromagnetic frequency and can induce a function of behavior into you that you might not of your own volition choose. Now, unfortunately, if your will is not as strong as it could be, the manipulation mechanisms work far easier with people who cannot think or reason for themselves, which means you cannot evaluate your own thought process. You can't emotionally regulate yourself. And so you're easier, more susceptible to manipulation. So be mindful of that. Learn to differentiate. Yes, they're just telling me it's important you learn to differentiate yourself from the thoughts that come into your mind. It's important to differentiate yourself from the emotions that you have in your mind. It's important to differentiate yourself from the environment, which is in simply a material realm that you're experiencing. But primarily pay close attention and be diligent about the nature and the quality of the thoughts and the emotions that enter your consciousness. If you cannot differentiate between thoughts, emotions, and your own awareness, then you will become subjective to the thoughts, the emotions that enter or influence your awareness. It's very simple. It's not complex. Learn to watch your thoughts and question where they came from. If you have not learned to do this, you can be easily manipulated. So please learn to become aware of your thoughts, their nature, and their source. Even thoughts that you have that are negative towards yourself are probably not even yours. In fact, you weren't born with any negative thoughts in your mind. You weren't born with any positive thoughts in your mind. You were born pure and perfect. And the electromagnetic interactions between yourself and the world around you is what conditioned you to think, feel, and believe what you currently think, feel, and believe, unless, of course, you've awakened sufficiently that you can question, evaluate, change, edit, delete certain thoughts that no longer serve you anymore. We cannot stress how important it is for you to remember that the vast majority of your thinking, feeling, and believing was given to you. Most of your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors were given to you by the environment. And until you awaken sufficiently enough, and this is why this is called the Great Awakening, because there are many of you that are beginning to evaluate your thoughts, evaluate your emotions, and the conditions under which those thoughts and emotions would compel you to function under. Once you are able to observe and bear witness to your thoughts, your emotions, and your memories, you can surrender being subjective to them. The vast majority of people go along with whatever thoughts enter their head at any given moment, and there's no thought. You can watch many of those wonderful videos of what you call Karens and other such things online, where you see individuals saying, thinking, and doing things that are absolutely outlandish and ridiculous and even downright scary. You can see some of them possessed by very lower vibrational energies. And until you can begin the process of questioning and evaluating the thoughts in your mind, you will be subjective to those thoughts. Keep in mind that the vast majority of what goes on in your mind was given to you. Even your name, the name that we would address you by, if you said, my name is Bob or my name is Mary, even the name that you've been given was given to you. You did not have that name before, so you believe that you are this personality. And it's so important that you begin to believe that you are a soul that has thoughts, has emotions, and has a body, but you are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are not your body. These are instruments of creation. Now, there are dark forces, dark ones on this planet right now that seek to subjugate humanity to their will. And there are light forces upon this planet and amongst humanity that seek to liberate you from subjectivity to unnecessary suffering, which is what the product of negative thinking is, unnecessary suffering. But you get to choose now. If you are hearing these words today, you have the opportunity to begin the process of differentiating between your thoughts, your emotions, and your body for the purpose of recognizing that you can choose, as an act of your own free will, functions of behavior that are beneficial for your life and the lives of others in this world. The dark ones are gaining great advantage over individuals that they can manipulate very easily into believing things that are ludicrous and even crazy. Understand that there is two forces at work. There is evil and there is good. These forces are at work in every one of our lives. And you have the opportunity now to choose which one you will align to or simply remain subjective, finding yourself saying, thinking, and doing things, and then wondering why in heaven's name you did it in the first place. There are a lot of people doing things that they know they should not be doing, but they don't even know why they're doing it. They do not even recognize they've been manipulated to think, say, and do many of the things that they are. To hate one another is a terrible thing. To wish death upon another is a terrible thing. Where did you get that idea? Where do you get the idea to wish harm upon others? You weren't born wanting to harm others. You weren't born wanting to harm yourselves. You learned that. You were given these ideas, these perceptions, these beliefs. And it is time you begin to awaken and cast them out. Question all of your thoughts and your ideas and weigh them in the sanctuary of your mind. Is this thought good or not good? Many of you have been taught to believe that which is good is bad and that which is bad is good. Many of you have been confused by these dark ones, that the evil that runs some portions of this planet, which is, by the way, in retreat and on the verge of collapse. This collapse is inevitably going to happen, but in the meantime, there is going to be some challenges that are faced because there are a fair percentage of individuals that are indeed conditioned by evil to do evil, to think evil, to be evil. And even those individuals, if they begin to awaken and question their thoughts, their emotions can begin to shift and pull their energy away from evil towards good, as this is the only way to end unnecessary suffering upon this planet. So it's very important that you do understand and realize that you are a divine entity that's come into a physical dimension with non-judgment, with purity, with perfection, with grace, with love, with all potentials. And that when you came into this world, you were given certain ideas and beliefs. They were put into your mind long before many of you were able even to think, before you could even consider or weigh or measure that this thought that my mother or father are giving me, or this thought that the television or the radio is giving me, or this thought that comes from this book, or this thought that comes from my teacher, or this thought that comes from my friend. Long before you were able to evaluate that, you were given many of the thoughts and beliefs that you currently have. And if they remain unquestioned, they will have the opportunity to have an influence over your function of behavior. In fact, behaviors of many have been sidetracked by beliefs and ideas that were given to them from systems of so-called education that have become no more than indoctrination centers to subjugate people to the will of those in positions of authority and control that have a great advantage at the suffering of human being, the unconsciousness and ignorance of those that can condition into believing things that are not necessarily true. You are a manifestation of love. You will always be a manifestation of love, but the information in your mind and in your emotional field may not reflect that, because you do not get thoughts from the divine. You got thoughts from this world, from the people, the places, the circumstance you find yourself exposed to. Please awaken yourself. Awaken yourself before you find yourself thinking, saying, and doing things that you cannot undo, as so many of you have been manipulated into doing, rampaging in the streets and judging one another, and find yourself doing things that you would not normally do. From a divine perspective, you will not be judged in that fashion, but you'll be held accountable for your thoughts, your memories, and emotions by way of your experiences, as your thoughts, your emotions, your memories precipitate behaviors, and the acts of your behaviors will create reactions in the world that will cause you to have experiences. You have time and the place, and you have the opportunity to liberate yourself from what you've been conditioned to think, feel, and believe without question. So please awaken. Your emotions, your thoughts are manipulated electromagnetically. Even if you're not aware of it now, there are technologies that can come right through your so-called cellular devices and manipulate you to think or behave in a certain way. And how many of you keep these devices very close to you? It's not so easy to influence any individual who is aware of their thoughts. But that point of awareness must be achieved for you to no longer remain subjective to thoughts, to memories, to emotional influences. You must become aware. And in your awareness, you will find your liberation from the conditions that have been poured into your mind from the environment to make you think, feel, and believe a certain way. You have time. You have time to do this now. Do not waste any time. Now, we have a vehicle here that's pruning and cutting down branches of trees that are no longer needed. So there's going to be background noise going on. So I would encourage you to have a good day, a wonderful time. We can take one or two questions if anybody wants to ask one. Supernatural Spirituality. Hi, William and friends. It's Betsy from Atlanta. Let's celebrate the beauty of this gorgeous day. Yes, the day is a very, very beautiful day. Jasmine saying, as I meditated the other day outside, a cricket was singing very loudly. I asked him to please turn it down or stop, and he did instantly, then started up again very softly. I love creation. Yes, we have an intimate connection with all that is, and it's a beautiful thing. Thank you for sharing that sentiment. Good morning, TikTok. Yeah. Well, thank you, Amanda. I dreamt of jumping off. Amanda, thank you for that super chat. I dreamt of jumping off a roller coaster. The ground under my feet looked like grids. When the ride was done, I jumped back on. May I have a message around this? Thank you very much. Yes, you're beginning to tune into the energetic construct of time, space, and matter. You're beginning to tap into the energetic construct that supports and sustains time, space, and matter. So you're actually seeing the underlying geometric structure that holds matter, time, and space together. Yes, yes, indeed. This is someone saying, this blood moon has been a war zone for me. Do my guides have any light for me? Yes, Country Bell. Really important to not get into the phenomena. Learn to quiet and still your mind. Like literally, learn to quiet and still your mind. And you'll find that the world cannot affect you in the same fashion as it currently does. Even the phenomena of such things as the sun, the moon, the earth, and the stars, when you are awakened sufficiently enough, they cannot influence you either. In the stillness of your own soul, you're closer to the divine than you are to the structures of the world of time and space and matter. Your awareness actually liberates you from time, space, and matter. Do orgonite generators help by? Yes, they do. Actually, here, I'll show you something. So one thing I recommend, again, this is not a promotion. This is not something I do, but I have one of these on the back of my phone there. It's called Scalar Technology. I have one of those on the back of all my electronic devices. I also keep orgonite around. I always keep a piece of orgonite nearby me. It's good to have a good orgonite. So orgonite is something that was created back last century by Wilhelm Reich, who understood how to create composite passive fields that could electromagnetically change energy from negative to positive. Yes, absolutely, Amanda. Orgonite's very good for that. You can also get orgonite pendants. Yeah, so I'm not promoting that company. I'm just using their product. If you're able to help me, I've learned somebody has been hating me for years and she's never met me. Again, if you got somebody that you believe is hating you, send them love. I kid you not. Send them love and grace and mean it sincerely. Wish God's love and grace enter their heart, their mind, and their body. and you'll see a change happen. You don't even have to meet them. Just send the energy. I send love, God's love, God's grace, and God's goodness to them. Send them the energy that will allow them to receive that. Do not send hate back to them. Do not get angry at them. Send love back to them, and you'll experience a change. You're welcome, Amanda. Hi. Hi. Thank you so much, Kathy, for the roses. Thank you for subscribing. Appreciate that. Will my flight be on time tomorrow? Yes, it will, Iris. How does it feel being on your flight now? Be on your flight on time right now. It's important that you understand that you are a creator. If you're asking us the question, will my flight be on time tomorrow? You are containing within your energy field doubt. It's important to shift that. I'm so grateful to be on my flight in a timely fashion. And then there's also the consideration that there's an infinite intelligence that might have a much better way of doing things than you, but I'm being told immediately that your flight will be on time tomorrow. Have a wonderful journey, wherever it is. A month ago, do I have a post office box? Yes, I do have a post office box. I have an address that you can send things to if that's what you're asking for. Yes, I have an address you can send things to if that's true. What don't you get notified for, Lauren? If you're one of my Patreons, Lauren, the Patreon mail interface is not a very good one for it. It does not. We had a bunch of people that were sent hundreds of invites to an event on the 7th, and only a handful of people showed up. So if you want to use my regular email address, which you can get from my website or using the Linktree link in my TikTok bio or below any one of my YouTube videos, use that Linktree link and you can send me a message directly. You also have a message interface on my website that you can send a message to me, and I do get those in a timely fashion, generally speaking. Janine, will my foot heal completely? Again, when you're asking the question, will my foot heal completely? The answer from our perspective is yes. However, if you are asking the question, the energy that we get from that question is you have uncertainty around this. Smile and be of great joy that your foot is healed and whole and perfect. And you may speak thusly to your foot. You are healed and whole and perfect. I am grateful. You can speak or think that to your foot. You are healed, you are whole, and I am grateful. You must speak and communicate to the consciousness of the foot. Remember, your thoughts are electromagnetic, and your foot is electromagnetic. You want to give it an electromagnetic signal that induces it to a healthy, proper function. So mind your thoughts and the quality of your thoughts, because you will induce conditions into your body if you do not understand how thought actually functions in relationship to your nervous system, because your thought is a non-physical energy that interfaces with a physical dimension. Your thoughts are a non-physical energy that interfaces with a physical dimension, thereby causing effects in time, space, and matter. Thought orchestrates the function of energy. Emotion puts it together. Wow. Thank you so much. Great question. Will the positive glyphs that occurred be honored? Hello, Nova. I'm getting that there's some resistance to it, Nova. There's a little bit of resistance to it, but it's going to come about in a way you didn't expect, but it will come about, just not quite in the way you expect. Yes. I've also felt sucked down by negative emotions and energies. Listen, take time off your phones. Go out in nature. Find a forest. Take your shoes off. Put your feet on the ground. Unless you have a strong will, these devices can manipulate and control you. Right? If you do not have a strong will, get away from electrical technology on a regular basis. Every day you should spend a couple of hours at the very least away from technology. Get out in nature, lie on the grass, watch the birds, connect to the natural world, because your body's part of the natural world. right? You need to do that right now. Yep. Watch technology, because they're getting a lot of people through technology now. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Lady Gray. Appreciate that. I learned so much from your channel. That's wonderful, Lisa. I'm glad you're learning something from this channel. What it's all about. They're here to bring us back home. Yeah. Okay, there we go. We're good. Well, guys, as I said, this will be a short one. I got this machine going at the back here, and I know that I think that the TikTok or the YouTube system will pick all that noise up for some reason. I want to wish you all much love. Have a wonderful day, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next edition of Shortcuts for Your Soul. Have yourselves a wonderful and a joyful day. Thank you to the Divine Collective for being present with us. I will see you all later. Bye.